Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gen Z Sanctum. It is another Wednesday, and I am your host, Nathan, with my co host, Nate.
It's actually Monday. I'm kidding. It is Wednesday.
Wow, this guy doesn't know his days of the week.
Wow.
So,
Uh-huh.
I'm dying, apparently.
Your mic just went, so sweet.
My mic just like,
Exactly.
and I guarantee you that sounded weird.
Yes, it did.
Of course it did, because Discord is like, oh, mic peaks? We're just going to distort it to absolute mayhem before it comes through. So a normal, like a normal yelling coming through the mic is like, it doesn't sound like that. Yes, it sounds like that. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Okay.
It sounds like if I were to yell like, hey, get over there, it comes through like this.
Pretty much.
It comes through like that.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, as you all know, we start off these episodes with small talk. Nathaniel, how's your week?
So awful.
So I've heard.
Yeah, this is the audience's first time hearing about this. My dad is in the hospital, and he's got what's known as HE, or HE, or whatever the frick it's called. It's essentially where it's essentially like a liver disease where the liver can no longer filter stuff like ammonia out of the blood, and the ammonia builds up in your brain and causes you to be lightheaded and fall a lot, and also be massively confused and not remember stuff. So it's not only a liver problem; it's also affecting his brain because of the high
In
concentration
other
of
words,
toxin.
a really, really bad thing.
So yeah, it's yes, no, it's bad.
Very.
Yep. So he's still at the hospital, and another 30 days they said before he can come home, apparently.
Wow.
So that's going to be expensive.
Yes. So here's my problem.
Okay.
Is I get doctors and nurses get paid a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
but it almost seems like they just charge you a stupid amount of money because they can.
I mean, it is, yes, higher
Okay.
than normal. Yeah.
Okay, so an example, one of my coworkers, when his daughter was born, he said before insurance help paid, you know how much it cost? His daughter had to get moved to a couple different hospitals by ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much it cost with all their hospital bills? This is before insurance.
A lot of money.
Just take a quick gamble. This is only over a couple days at the hospital.
A couple days at the hospital. Okay. Let me guess. $30,000.
You are extremely low.
Extremely low. Okay.
Yes.
150,000.
This is. You are still very low.
Hold on a second. 3 days in the hospital, you said?
Yes. 2 ambulance runs. 2 or 3 days in the hospital. Yes. This is what I mean. This is an example of what I mean. Doctors can just charge money because they can. Like, it almost feels like going to the doctor is a scam. I get you need to go to the doctor for very important things, but sometimes you go to the doctor with a broken leg, and I've heard stories of doctors, like, somebody will go in and pay like $500-600 just for the doctor to say, oh yeah, your leg is broken. You are correct.
Bruh.
And then just give you a boot, which you could have bought online. I'm like, really? I just paid you $500 and I could have come up with that solution myself.
I mean,
really?
Yeah, you could have. Probably.
Because, I mean, you can, if you know your leg width and your foot size, you can literally buy a boot on Amazon. A boot that works.
Yep.
The exact same boot that the now you're still paying for the boot, but I'm like, just buying the boot and having the solution yourself would be so much cheaper than going to the doctor and them just telling you, "Oh yeah, you are correct. Here's this."
Yeah, probably.
Dude, I would have literally done that myself.
Yeah, but you're not saying like doctors should just get put out of work, basically.
No. What I'm saying is, I think some of the prices need to actually. I feel like they need reasons. I feel like they just give you a massive bill because they can.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. But do you know why prices in Europe are so much cheaper?
That I had not really looked into.
Okay, so Europe has essentially free healthcare, and prices for other like healthcare related items are much lower.
Okay, quote unquote free healthcare. You're still paying for it, but
Quote
not at the
unquote.
doctor's office.
Correct. Do you know?
Yes.
But do you know why it's quote unquote free?
Because their taxes are way higher.
Exactly. So their taxes are like 30-40%.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that
Now-
today's topic though? Like, is that what we're talking about, or?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
this is small talk. Small talk is turning into medium talk, apparently.
Okay. And also,
But-
Discord is turning your mic into something else because when you said no, it said no. Just cut off the rest of the no's for some reason.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Wow.
Anyway, you were saying.
I think we might be resorting to a different form of calling each other for this. But anyway,
Eventually,
what I was trying
yeah.
to say. To be honest, I wonder what Facebook Messenger calling, if that would help at all. Because my mic, anywhere else, I yell and scream, and it doesn't do anything.
I mean, do you want to pause the episode and try it right now?
Well, I don't have it hooked on my computer. That would have to be something I'd have to plan in advance.
Well, frick.
But
Okay.
we could try it next time. Anyway, so my point back to doctors, I fully understand they pay, a lot in schooling. You got to pay for the equipment use. You got to pay for all this. But I feel like there are just some times where you feel like they're just charging you because they can't.
Yeah.
Like you go in with like a really bad sprained ankle, or you go in with a broken ankle. And like, oh yeah, it's broken. I'm like, dude, I could have told you it was broken. You see it dangling right here? Like, oh, I broke my arm. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me charge you $500 to diagnose it. Yes, your arm is broken. We're going to charge you extra money to put into a cast. I'm like, dude, you can literally see it as I walked in. I told you. You just charged me $500 to just stare at my arm and tell me it's broken.
So,
What? But that's my point. I understand some people would disagree, and I could understand nurses and doctors, they would have a point to it, but I'm like, in reality, why?
Because.
I get so here's the thing.
Mhm.
So I fully understand some like auto shops. This could be fair argued the same way. Is auto shops are going to charge you an hour diagnosis, so they're going to charge you however much. But if a customer is like, I don't want you to diagnose it, just fix it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the same thing with a broken arm. You can just say, it's a broken arm. Fix it. I could bring in and say, my tire has a nail in it. I know it has a nail in it because I found it. Can you patch it for me? And there are some shops out there that will still charge you an hour for diagnosing that your tire has a nail in it when you told them it had a nail in it to begin with.
Wow.
You could literally just trust the customer, find the nail, fix it, and just charge them labor for pulling the nail out. For granted, that's what we do at our shop.
Okay. Oh, just exposed yourself there, Nathan.
No. What I'm saying is that if the customer comes in and doesn't like strongly says they do not want a diag, you're like, okay, we won't give you a diag. But for something that's a little bit more like what's the word? A little bit more complicated for the average person to diagnose. Is like, hey, I'm running rich or lean on a certain cylinder or whatever. By the way, rich or lean, rich means too much fuel, lean means too little fuel.
So Nathan, is this the topic, or
people out there.
are we now at long talk?
No, this is not the topic. We're at long talk.
Or
now.
long talk. Okay, and also Discord saying, no, this is not the topic. So yeah, I definitely think next time we'll have to figure out another form of call for this thing, because this is getting annoying as frick. Anyway, are
if
we
it
gonna
gets bad enough? Pause the episode. Let me know, and we'll try and actually hang on. Go ahead and pause the episode.
Okay, guys, we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, well, guys, he said okay because we're back now. And so we're calling through Facebook Messenger now, so hopefully there's not a super massive delay in audio when we're talking.
Hopefully not, but to be honest, the time range from when we switched over to Discord to Messenger now is was a little bit, so I don't remember exactly what I said before.
Can we get to the topic though, because we were in long talk for a while there, so maybe let's...
Yes, we were in long talk.
Maybe forget what you were saying.
I'm gonna keep on going to long talk because this is my episode and I get to do what I want with my episode. Okay, no.
Very long talk then, guys.
No. Actually, secretly, I never had a top. No, I'm just kidding.
What? All right, no.
So that's the end of this episode. We were just doing long talk
for
this episode. It was a little short today, but I will see you guys later. Bye.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you better be just kidding, because I was about to come beat you. Okay, I'll stop.
Anyway, bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the Nathan thing. I'm gonna do the Nathan thing, being like, so anyway, I was...
Anyway, today's topic may seem like a repeat, but it's really not. But it's about how tech is made, which this episode was inspired by a video that I saw on my YouTube feed, which I thought was pretty cool. It said how televisions are made.
So you get a screen,
and
right?
Huh?
You get a screen, right? And then the screen does images, and then TV.
So the most interesting thing that yes.
Okay.
But this is mainly going to be about how televisions work, but this applies with anything that has a screen.
Okay.
But televisions in particular, because you're always watching content on TVs, you're watching football, you're watching soccer, you're watching TV shows, you're watching movies, you're watching moving content.
Yes.
On TVs most of the time, so how TVs are made, which I thought was pretty interesting. So they're made in one big factory. Wow, TVs are made in a factory.
Wow.
What world have I been in this whole time? No,
what?
But of course, you start out with the plastic shell. Then you basically, actually, wait, if I remember, no. Well, you do start out with the plastic shell, yes. But everything is built on top of the motherboard, basically. So the motherboard goes first, and then different layers of the screen go together piece by piece, which with the LCD, you've got a backlight, which that's just a regular light. Then you've got 2 or 3 filters, I think. I think that's LCD. Is it 2 or 3 filters? I don't remember. I know
one of those, yes.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Anyway, so with LCDs, well, with any display you need filters. But
obviously.
So, well, yeah.
Go on.
So once the filters are placed and the motherboard is installed, then the case and basically top cover TVs are actually pretty simple to make,
Oh.
which, but then you take, well, it's because the motherboard is mostly assembled like off-site. This is mainly getting assembled.
So Avengers
But
Assemble, except for TV.
yes,
Ah, okay. Carry on.
once the TV's built, of course, it gets shipped off. There's more to the video, but I don't want to like go into so much depth that people are like, what the heck is this guy talking about?
We're talking about
But
garbage. I'm kidding.
yes, because nobody needs TVs. But the most interesting thing that a TV does is everybody knows the term FPS, frames per second.
Yes, some people might know that.
So you can go. So frames per second is also referred to as hertz.
Mm-hmm.
On like you hear like
Mm-hmm.
30 hertz, 60 hertz, 100 hertz,
Mm-hmm.
250 hertz, whatever. That's basically what a display can put out, like how many frames per second it can put out. Because how a display works is an LCD is a backlight that goes through filters that filters out certain light. So a pixel on a screen has three colors: red, blue, and green. Those filters basically filter out the colors that don't need to be there to create a certain color on a display.
Okay.
So that's what your filters do. And the easiest way to do that,
Mm-hmm.
an easiest way to explain what a filter does, do you know what polarized sunglasses are? Like
Yes,
the definition of polarized.
there's sunglasses that are polarized.
Wow.
I know.
Basically, if
You can.
so for the listeners,
Mhm.
polarized sunglasses is basically you're like, well, sunglasses are sunglasses. Not necessarily. Yes, they all have like darker lenses, but polarized sunglasses, basically, if you were to try and take a stick through a fence and it wouldn't go through, like a wooden fence, like there's wooden poles and they're put together. If you were to take a stick sideways, it wouldn't go through, right? But if you were to take that stick, in other words, like a light of a different
Mhm.
color or whatever, it would go through. So that's basically what polarized sunglasses do, and that's also what screen filters do. Is they're filtering out colors that aren't supposed to be there
Oh.
to create a color. But what's interestingly enough is that images on a screen actually aren't moving.
Oh.
It's a frame appears, disappears, and as that frame is disappearing, another frame is coming in. It's just
Oh.
doing that cycle so incredibly fast. It's actually an illusion,
Mm.
according to scientists.
Ooh.
Your brain sees the frames, appearing, disappearing fast enough to where your brain thinks, oh, it's something actually moving. So
Oh.
there's nothing actually moving. It's frames appearing and disappearing, which I found that really fascinating. Is for your brain to interpret it as a moving object, it has to be an illusion.
Ooh.
Which is why if you slow down the frame, like if you were to watch a video at 5 frames per second,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to clearly see the object on the screen is not moving.
Okay.
But if you increase that video to 30 frames per second, you're like, oh, yeah, I see it moving. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of stutter, but you can kind of see it moving. But when you jump up to 60, that is fast enough to the point where the brain doesn't even see frames. It just sees something moving.
Oh. There's actually something similar to this, which is with light bulbs. Have you heard about this?
Like how bulbs kind of like there's light and then there isn't. It's kind of like the wavelength of electricity.
Yeah,
How
if
it's
you were
not
to
a constant.
if you were to
Yeah,
slow down a light bulb, you could actually see it flicker on and off.
which is why if you ever go watch Electro Boom's video about how he explains
Mm-hmm.
how lights work, it's in his light dimmer video. He basically talks about how frequency of electricity, how it's a wave. It's not a constant line. You don't have a constant form of electricity. So when you turn the light on, it's blinking fast enough to where your brain thinks it's a constant on light. But if you were to take a fast enough, like, sorry, a camera that can take enough frames per second, you can actually see the light. Like, sometimes if the camera can't do it justice, it'll dim a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see it dim, like pulsate kind of.
Yeah.
But it won't actually fully turn off if the camera can't see it. And it's also frame rate. Like, have you ever gone into a room with a camera and you see like LED lights like flickering?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that before, like on a video? Yeah, that's basic. Like, I see it all the time when I look at a video of like a review of a car, but it's got LED like running lights and they're blinking. It's
Mm.
the frequency of the lights does not match the frames per second that the camera is taking in. So
Right.
one of the frames coming in from the camera, one of them is a frame of the light off. So that's why
Ah.
it's like flickering like that.
Okay.
Which, if you actually, so I strongly suggest I need to go back and try and find the video. There's a guy who actually takes a TV screen and slows down the process of what it has to do
Mm-hmm.
to create the illusion of a moving object. Slows it down, I think, by like, I mean, I may be over exaggerating this, but like 30 times.
Ooh.
Sorry, not 30 times. 30,000 frames per second or something insane to be
Oh.
able to see what a TV is doing. And that camera is able to pick up the fact that the like pixels fully turn off getting ready to accept the next frame. So
Ah.
there's actually your eyes can't see it, but the TV is like on off on off on off on off to accept new frames.
Mm.
But that is the lights going through a filter is actually LCD. I think it's like liquid crystal display because I don't even think TVs are made with a liquid crystal display anymore because that's old.
Yeah. No, not anymore.
Because no, a liquid crystal display actually costs a lot more to make
Mm-hmm.
than. But when LED displays first came out, the LCDs still looked better because the LEDs couldn't quite get to the correct contrast of because it was a constant white light that had to go through filters, and the filters at the time weren't as good as the liquid crystal display,
Ah.
which is basically how I understand it, how it was explained.
Okay.
But as time went on, filters got better, LEDs got better, but then we got introduced to the OLED display, organic LED display, which does some companies will use filters for their OLED display, but some don't
Mm-hmm.
because OLED displays are individually lit pixels. So each pixel can be a different color from the rest. It doesn't need a filter to filter out a color. It can just be a completely different color. And the benefit of that is you can full on turn off parts of the displays when they don't need to be on. Like, so you get what they refer to as a perfect black.
Perfect
So like
black.
if you're watching like a really dark movie,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever seen how an LCD display or an LED display will constantly have like a what like if the screen was on, but it was like on a black screen, you see like a little bit of a hint of light.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that? Yeah.
A little bit.
That's the filters not being able to filter out all the light coming from the backlight. So you're going to get a little bit of that white light.
Ah.
You're going to
Okay.
get a lot of it out, but you're not going to be able to get all of it, which is why OLED displays are get the perfect black as manufacturers call it.
Ah. Okay. Don't let police officers know about the term "perfect black" because they will be they will be coming into wherever. They'll be like,
Wow.
"Where are they? Where is he?" All right, sorry. Continue, Nathan.
I just found that like really interesting. The most interesting part was uh learning that while OLED displays are they tend to have the best contrast in colors, so you get like really deep blues, greens, reds, like
Yeah,
really vibrant colors. But the downside is, have you ever heard of organic burn?
I think so.
Have you ever heard of like
Remind me what it
yeah,
is.
it's basically when an OLED display is kept on one screen for
Mm-hmm.
too long.
Okay.
So when you turn the display off, you see an outline of what was just there.
Yeah.
And OLED displays are not known for reliability because they are weak
Okay.
displays. They aren't the strongest displays when it comes to keeping light there.
Right.
So while you can keep light in one spot, if you keep it there for too long, it can burn into the pixels,
So
which
okay.
is not necessarily something you want. But there are companies coming out with OLED displays basically that don't do that.
Yeah, non-OLED
But
displays
it's
used to do that too. Like if you paused like on the old screens, if you paused a movie on like a bright light.
are you talking about the box TVs?
Yeah, like the old box TVs, if you paused a movie or TV show or whatever on like a scene with a giant bright light for too long, you'd turn the TV off and it would still be like bright in that one part of the screen for like 30 seconds or longer.
Well, you know why
Yeah, the
those box
crystals.
TVs do that. No, it's because they
Oh, okay,
have
never mind.
well, the reason box TVs so okay, after you turn a box TV off, you can put your hand on, you feel like static electricity, right?
Yeah.
There is a generator in the back shooting electrons at the screen,
Yeah.
which is why if you keep a box TV on a white light for too long, turn it off, those electrons have to retract from the display. Because when it's white, all the electrons are being pushed at the display. And you know the like big box in the back, like when you ever turn the TV on, you hear a kind of like a humming
I mean, yeah,
noise.
yeah. Have you've usually used like non-box TVs, right? Did you? I think you had a box TV in your
Oh
basement,
yeah.
right?
Oh, I've I've okay. We
Really?
had two box TVs in our house growing up. We had a big old box TV, and it
Uh-huh.
was about one of the biggest box TVs you could get. And that thing weighed a lot.
My dad
Whenever
tore
we
his
tried to move
arm
it,
on one of those old giant box TVs trying to move
those
it.
TVs, like,
Mhm.
everybody knew those weren't going to be the future. Just
Yeah.
because they weren't very efficient and they required so much power to run. Have you ever turned on a box TV and you had your lights on, you see the lights dim for a split second?
Not on a
Did you
box
ever
TV,
see
but
that?
not on a box TV, but I've
Our
seen.
our box TV, because of the sheer size of it, we turn it on and the lights dim for a split second.
Wow.
You remember our old huge box TV? You remember that?
The big one.
The huge one that when you first saw it, it was in the basement.
Oh, yeah, yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and when it was moved to the utility room, whenever it got turned on, the lights would heavily dim for a split second to where it seemed
Okay.
like somebody turned a dimmer halfway and then back on.
Wow.
That TV was, hey, it a horrible way of using electricity. So whenever we'd use the TV too much, my parents would be, "Why is the electric bill so high?" Yeah,
Because it
box
is.
TVs were not very efficient
Because
because
it
they
is
basically
really
needed
hard.
an electron generator to create a display.
Mm.
Now, with flat screens, when they first came out, they were able to, first of all, makes the box TV way smaller,
Okay.
so more compact. But the benefit of them was they did not need a ginormous generator. They used filters
Ah.
instead of an electron generator, which is where, the whole one backlight is all you need. You just need filters to give you different colors.
Ah.
You also knew, so if you were to take a flashlight and shine it at a box TV and you turn the lights off, did you ever notice how that light would still be there?
What? Yeah.
Like, and it's slowly dim. Did you ever do that?
I haven't done that, but I've heard about that.
Okay, so we did that to our box TV. It's because the electrons in the generator are excited by light. They're excited by electricity. They're excited, by something that produces light. So when
Yeah.
you take a flashlight and you shine it directly at the display, the electrons are getting excited and they move to the display for a little bit.
Ah.
But then when you take the light away, they retract.
Ah. Okay.
Which is why if you turn a box TV off, you can touch the screen and feel static electricity. Which is
Nice.
why if you have your screen on a working box TV, I learned this the hard way, do not discharge yourself because it freaking hurts. I was like, oh, this feels weird. And then I take my hand off for a split second, and then I go touch something. I'm like, ow!
Everybody laughs around you like, dumb, dumb guy.
But
You stupid.
I would also figure out putting my hand on a box
Mhm.
TV, my hair would slowly start to raise up.
Well, don't do that then.
Nah, I'm gonna go buy a box TV just to shock people.
Wow.
Shock.
No, you might say
Okay.
that it's shocking. All right.
Wow, I see what you did there.
Yep. Wow.
That I don't know. This is another episode that I feel like you're excluded. Do you ever have any stories like since we're on the box TV?
I mean, I
See,
have a
talking
box
about box TVs, that makes me feel really. Oh, I know
I have
you
a
do.
box
You still
TV in
have
my
one.
room. Yeah. So
But
stories.
the fact that we
I don't know.
okay, this makes me so old to the point where I remember that I could go into Goodwill and buy a box TV.
I think you still
That's
can.
how old I am.
I think you still
No,
can.
well, at least the Goodwill we have doesn't take box TVs anymore
Oh, okay. Well,
because they're
that's Carmel being Carmel.
yeah. In Carmel, nobody has those anymore.
I was gonna say because
The
like
rich people.
all of the Goodwills down where I live, you can find, like older monitors or just box TVs that have been sat on the shelves.
Yeah, but I remember walking into Goodwill and seeing a box TV. This is how old I feel. Dad, that box TV's only $5. Should we get it?
$5 for a box TV? Dang. All right.
Yes, when I was like 10 or younger.
That is overpriced for a box TV.
Oh, compared to today's standards, yes.
Compared to
But
back
keep in
then
mind-
standards, even, Nathan.
Well, keep in mind okay, you could buy a box TV back then. See, at least for what other pawn shops were offering them for, because people still had them. Not
Yeah.
everybody had upgraded to a flat screen yet. So people still had them, so they were still worth money.
I guess. Do you know how
So
much?
$5
Do you know how much?
way back when
Yeah.
way back when was not really bad when you could go in, because this is when flat screens were like a new thing, and you'd walk in and you'd want to buy a 40-inch flat screen, which keep in mind back then a 40-inch TV was what like an 80-90-inch TV is now.
Yeah.
Like you see a 40-inch TV back then, like when I was like 8 or 9, you'd be like, that is the biggest TV I have ever seen in my entire life. And now a 40-inch TV now is seen like, oh, that's a tiny TV. And if you were to buy like a Sony, LG, Samsung 40-inch TV, you know how much they would retail for?
How much?
Like a decent one. You're looking at about 2 grand. Like
Yeah,
my
okay.
grandparents, yeah. My grandparents bought a Sharp, you know the company Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So they went and bought, I think theirs was like a 55 or maybe it was a 60-inch flat screen TV.
Okay.
And they bought that. Oh, jeez. When did they buy that TV? I think they bought it in like 2012.
Okay.
You know how much that TV cost?
Mm-hmm. I
For it
don't.
was like anywhere. It was like $4,000 to $4,500 for a
Okay.
60-inch TV. Which keep in mind now you can get an OLED 60-inch TV for about 1,500 today. Like an OLED, which OLED TVs are prone known for being really expensive.
Okay.
So that's one thing that's really interesting. Even though, uh, wow, why can I not think of the word where money becomes like worth less per dollar?
Is it not inflation? That's the other way around. Oh wait, no.
Inflation.
Inflation is
Inflation.
correct. Yeah.
So even with inflation, TVs have actually gotten cheaper compared to a long time ago. Because the TV that we have in our living room would have cost you about like $5,000 back in 2012 or 2013. Now a TV like that will cost you about $1,000.
Okay. Do you want to know how
It's
much
because
I got the box TV
uh,
that sits in my room for?
I'm
Um,
gonna say dollar.
yeah, it was about like $1.25 or whatever. Those things are not as
Yeah,
expensive as you'd
where
think.
did you? Wasn't that? No, no, no. But keep in mind, I'm talking about a box TV when people still had them.
Yeah.
So the $5 was when people still had box TVs. So they were worth way more back then than they are now. Now they're worth like, oh, look, it's garbage. And do you ever did you ever remember when box TVs were known for exploding when they got to a certain age?
Box
Like
TVs.
actually exploding?
That I never knew about that.
So apparently a friend of ours had a box TV still when we still had ours, and it kind of made me a little scared of our box TV after hearing this story. So they were just chilling on the couch watching TV, and then they start to see smoke from the back of their TV. Like, they unplug the TV, unplug everything from it, run outside with the TV, put it in the front yard, and the generator in the back, boom, explodes right in their front yard.
Really?
Yeah. So I when we got home, I was kind of scared of our box TV after that. So
Okay.
every single time I hear it make like weird noises, I'm like, is the TV gonna explode? That's here. That was a pretty common problem as box TVs would age. That didn't happen to every single one of them, but I think it would happen to like a certain brand or uh
Okay.
exploding. No. Okay, yeah, so well, this isn't exactly like box TVs exploding,
Okay.
but apparently the production of box TVs stopped in 2010.
Okay.
That's how long box TVs were made too. So box TVs were still being made when I found box TVs at Goodwill for $5.
Here's the thing about box TVs. Unlike box TVs are not like a collectible thing, I don't think. Like most collectible things like get more
Like
valuable
a what?
with age. A collectible. I don't think that
No,
like
they're not.
box TV. So $5 while they were still being made is might be reasonable, but the thing is, it's only going to depreciate over time. So like $5 now, obviously. Even back then, like I'd still say $5. I'm like, like was it a really good one? Like was it made by a really good company? Because like my box TV was like one of those just generic box TVs by some Japanese company that was made for like less than $1. But like $5 for
Yeah.
a box TV, like it would have had to have been like I don't know what the Eddie Bauer version of a box TV or something. But
Okay, so apparently box TVs are actually becoming collectibles
okay, I'd imagine some
because
of
I
them.
found a Toshiba. This is actually a very similar box TV to what we had, but it was a smaller one.
Okay.
It was it's a VHS, which yes, we grew up on VHS
Mm-hmm.
because VHS is awesome
Yep.
until they break.
Well, yeah. I've never had a VHS break on
This
me, but
one, oh, I did.
okay. What did you do to your VHS though? You would have had to like.
We didn't. The tape just wore out.
Okay, I was gonna say you would
So
have to abuse
those
the
tapes
frick.
can only be rewound so many times before they just like wear out. The color or the like image gets a little distorted. The audio file on the like cable or whatever those things are called.
Yeah. Yeah.
The like and it just like really staticky.
Yeah.
That happened to our VHS copy of Cinderella.
How many times
Like
did
the
you
original
watch it?
Cinderella.
How many times did you
A
watch it?
lot.
I was gonna say because you
A
had
lot.
for that to have happened,
You have to
would
watch
have
it a lot.
yeah, you would have had to abuse the hell out of a VHS for it to break like that.
Yeah, but this box TV, it's a 20-inch box TV. But the reason, I'll tell you why they're costing more now is because retro gaming consoles are becoming popular.
Yeah.
You know what goes best with retro gaming consoles? The TV those consoles were made to play on.
Okay.
Box TVs. So there's actually a slight demand for them now with retro gaming becoming popular.
Okay.
So this one right here in mint condition is selling for $250
Okay.
on eBay.
And rip off. I mean, depending on size.
I fully agree, but keep in mind if you want the proper, because if you know anything,
Mm-hmm.
they have the AV to HDMI converters now, and they take an AV signal and convert it to an HDMI signal. If you ever see somebody try to put a retro console on a 70-inch TV, it looks awful. You can't read any text at all. It was never made to play on a screen that big.
Yeah.
Box TVs only got to... Oh, geez. Hang on. Before I actually, like, make fun of me, how big was a box TV? Like, how big did they get?
Yes. I don't know. I just
40 inches.
Okay.
That was the biggest box TV you could get.
All right.
Now, that is a box, so it's a little bit different
And a TV.
than... but 40-inch, that's as big as they made them. Which, to be fair, a 40-inch box TV, I don't even want to know how much that thing weighs.
Probably
A lot.
Yeah, probably a lot.
Easily 150 pounds.
Oh yeah.
It's got to easily be 150. 100,
yeah.
like at the least. 100 pounds at the least, and 100 is probably being pretty generous.
Yeah.
But that's why they cost more now, is because of the demand for... Just keep in mind, you can't find box TVs really anymore. So people will spend $250 on a box TV to get the full experience. Now everybody's going to argue.
Yeah, I'm getting ready
Just
to argue
play it
right
on your
now. I'm getting ready to argue it right now.
Yeah,
Nathan, just play the game on the PC. Okay.
Yes, whatever. Oh, why can I not think of what it's
Is your
called? Where you
brain
put
okay,
like a
Nathan?
older. No,
Okay, good to know.
but when you put like a retro game on your PC, you have to modify it
Yeah,
to do so.
I guess.
I, I, I don't know emulators. So what people would normally say, just play the game on an emulator because it makes it look way better. I'm like, actually, to be fair, if Nintendo finds you out doing that, they will sue you. So keep that in mind. And I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious when I say
Yeah.
that.
Well, if it's a
So
Nintendo game,
be
yeah.
very careful. Be very yes.
Other people don't
Nintendo will
care as
sue
much.
you playing their games like Mario games, Zelda games on a emulator. Ooh boy, if they find out, you will be tracked down by Nintendo.
Yeah.
So
So also
use
why
that
would
information wisely.
so now with all of these amazing like new games, unless you're like an absolute Nintendo fanboy, why would you want to go back and play those old games?
Because there's just something about going back to the old NES first Mario game ever made. There's just something about the simplicity of that game that gamers like. It's just so simple. All you needed was a D-pad and an A button to jump. That's all you needed. That's it. Now games have so many controls that most people can't even figure it out.
Well, then they're dumb. Anyway.
It's just the simplicity of it, really,
Okay.
which really attracts everybody to it. But that is why box TVs cost more now, which,
I
to be
guess.
frankly honest, box TVs really, like, if you get a used box TV, who knows how much life is left on it? Because, like I said, there was a point where they would, like, start exploding. So it only has a matter of time.
That's never happened to me, but very good story that you've had with that.
Yeah.
Well, kind of funny.
But everybody's different. Everybody would be like, why would you, like in your case, why would you go back and play retro games?
Yeah.
Other people would argue that, it's fun. It's fun to go back to the simple days. But then there are those people who like modern stuff. So
Yeah. Also, here's the other
every
thing.
gamer likes their own stuff. But yes.
Here's the other thing. The box TVs are not the expensive part. It's the game itself. Finding an NES and an original, cartridge of Mario to play. That's where you start getting into the money. Like finding an original NES that still works, finding an original cartridge. That's where all of the money is at, not the box TV part. It's finding the game and the station to play it on. That's
Yes.
the expensive part. I saw this thing the other day that said like an original Mario or an original gaming station or something sold for close to like $5,000 or something. And I was like, yeah,
That would probably be a sealed.
I mean possibly
Because I can go buy a used NES system from like Disc Replay or something like that for about $70.
yeah, I guess.
But a sealed, never opened NES with both controllers, the
Yeah.
original Mario game, never opened, that's gonna sell for a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm into. I'm into like collectible stuff, like sealed stuff.
But here's the thing. People buy them to open them. I'm like,
it's
a collectible.
Never
buy it. Do not open it. And if you really want one really bad, go buy a used one.
Yeah, go buy a used one. Exactly.
But here's the thing. The NES has to be the least reliable console ever made.
Okay. Oh, burn!
Just because-
Get it. NES, it just got burnt. All right.
But here's the thing. If anybody plays on a NES, I didn't grow up. This is stories that everybody said. You would hit the power button, and after a certain while, you get the blinking red light or a blue screen. I mean, you probably get both.
Okay.
The first thing people would do is take the cartridge out, blow on it, get the
Which
dust out of the
doesn't
prongs, put
actually
it back
work,
in.
but yeah.
Sometimes it does,
Have you
but
seen?
not all the time.
I mean, have you seen the recent article that came out that said blowing in your game cartridges doesn't really help and can actually make the problem worse?
See that.
sometimes.
Yes, I did see
And
that.
then all of the Nintendo
I think it's
stands.
not the blowing. I think it's not the blowing on it. I think it's the fact that you just take it out and put it back in. That helps.
It's I don't know, but like
It's because over time the pin connector that reads the
mhm,
game in those NESs, just through the design of it, they wear out,
yeah.
and then all the pins can't touch the game correctly, which causes the blinking red light and the blue screen.
Okay.
So all the physical stuff in the game console just kind of wears out, which is where the media disc came out,
Yeah.
which PlayStation came out with, which is quite a bit better until you scratch the disc, and then you're screwed.
I was gonna say like, oh, it's
Yeah,
so much better. It stores so much thing. One scratch, you're done. One
yeah, that's
scratch,
how
you're
discs
done.
were back then. Because the laser readers on consoles way back then are like a scratch.
Yep. So
Like
technically,
I
like
can't read this.
discs were technically a worse invention for a while there. Like everyone
They
was,
were, but here's the
yeah.
thing: if you were careful with them, they
Mhm.
were way more reliable than the cartridge in the NES.
Okay.
So if you didn't scratch them at all and kept clean them the proper way, you would never really have to deal with a blinky red light or the game just flat out not reading until the laser in the console went bad, and then you're just sad.
But what percentage of people actually know how to take care of a gaming thing properly?
I don't know. It depends on how techy you are.
Droid.
If you're just that kind of person who buys a console just to play on it and doesn't really know how to fix it, no. But if
Yeah.
you're somebody who buys a console and knows how to fix your own stuff, you'd probably take a little bit more care of it.
Right.
Because then there are those people who get like so mad at a game. I totally have not done this, but they
Oh,
throw their controller clear across the room. I have not
you've
smashed a
totally,
wall with a
you've
controller,
totally not done that.
but I have thrown my controller across the room and
Mhm.
nearly broken it. Yay!
You totally don't know anything about that.
No, no way! I'm innocent. I'm an innocent gamer. I've never done that before.
Speaking of games, you see any of the like Fortnite stuff that's happening later this month?
Nope, because I don't play Fortnite anymore and I don't follow it anymore. All you kids can be like, "Oh, Fortnite's so good." No, it's not. As
Yeah,
soon as Fortnite added Rocket League and their own version of Guitar Hero, and well, it's not Guitar Hero. Yes, it is.
pretty
Yes, it
much,
is.
yeah.
Guitar Hero, Rock Band, whatever you want to call it.
Pretty much is,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Pretty much is, yeah.
It's just basically, oh yeah, you can play it on the controller now. I'm like,
Okay.
why would you ever want to play that on controller? Because it's confusing, at least
Yeah.
for me.
Exactly.
And once they just added stuff in because they could, I was like, I'm done. I'm not playing this game anymore. This is stupid.
Yeah, I uninstalled it because I'm like, nah, not. I'm not
I haven't
interested.
uninstalled it, but personally, at this point, I don't know why I haven't.
Probably should.
Just because I literally have not used it in the past like 2 seasons. So it's just 50 gigabytes on my consoles just sitting there. So
Yeah, you know
I
what
very
you
well
could.
might.
You know what you could use that 50 gigabytes for?
Forza.
True. You know what else you could use the 50 gigabytes for?
Hmm.
7 Days to Die when it releases to Alpha 1.0.
Yes.
Okay. But not
But
sponsored.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. I can't. I could get it on my console, but
Yeah.
here's the thing: I wouldn't get the alpha. I just get the PS4 version, which is way behind
Yeah,
the PC version.
yeah, the console available version of 7 Days to Die right now is the OG like 2016 version of 7 Days to Die,
Yes.
which can't even play multiplayer with modern.
Yes, and I know why. I know why that's the case because my coworker plays it a lot
Yeah, on console or PC.
on console.
Oh, okay.
He said he would have a PC if his Wi-Fi wasn't worse than yours.
Wow. Okay.
But the reason his Wi-Fi is so bad is because he lives like out in the middle of nowhere,
Okay.
and it's kind of hard to get a good Wi-Fi signal out in the middle of nowhere, and that's
Yeah.
why.
So we got like what the
So
disc version? Is that what it? Like, did he get the disc version?
Yeah, he has the disc version.
Okay.
He said whenever he has to do an update on any game, it takes like no joke, like several hours, even if it's a small update.
Because I was
I'm
gonna,
like, I know who can relate to that.
yeah, I was gonna say like this is something else I want to say real quick before we end the episode because we're at like 55 minutes or whatever.
Yes.
Is what's up with companies making like a game, even on disc, like even for single player, require to have an internet connection.
I don't know. There needs to be less. Like Minecraft doesn't even require an internet
No.
connection. You can play Minecraft without an internet connection.
Exactly.
You can just play solo.
Exactly.
It's so simple.
But
But I will tell you why. I will tell you why
mm-hmm.
a lot of games require an internet connection. It's because you can upload your stuff to the servers
Yeah.
through a Wi-Fi connection, and sometimes you have to.
Which is
You have
dumb.
to upload stuff through to. Yes, I fully agree. Now, Fortnite, the obvious why you can't
yeah,
play
no.
it
But like normal,
because
like
it won't even let you log in without
Yeah.
an internet connection.
I was gonna say, but like
But there are like some games now that didn't used to require an internet connection all the time, but now it's like most games, like you said, require an internet connection
Exactly.
to function.
even
I'm
like single player,
really?
even single player require
Like-
internet connection. I'm like that's just so stupid.
Very, because Minecraft is like one of the last games that you don't need an internet connection.
Yeah.
Because
So dumb.
Minecraft is actually really, really small. Like you download,
Pretty
it's
small,
like
yeah.
maybe 2 GB game.
Yeah.
But where the rest of the memory goes is your personal worlds.
Exactly.
Because Minecraft is a game that renders in real time.
Right.
So you have no idea what the map looks like till you get to that part of the map.
Used
You
to
have
not.
no idea what it looks.
Used to not. Used to
No.
be like a predetermined block that you couldn't go any beyond.
Yeah, now there's Minecraft Now, which
Yeah.
they have Infinity Worlds now.
Yeah.
So you can just keep flying for the end of days, and it'll just keep rendering and rendering and rendering forever.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing is that if you try and keep rendering something like for too long, you eventually get to a point where you just can't see anything anymore.
Exactly. It'll just stop after a while.
But for people who don't know how Minecraft works, that's why Minecraft is one of the hardest games to run, because it's a game that renders in real time. And depending on how many chunks you render at each time, that takes a lot of processing power to
Yeah.
work.
Well,
But I think this point has, well, I think this is a great time.
mhm.
I cannot speak because my brain has farts.
Okay.
As far as I can sprechen my English.
Okay. Wow.
This is probably a great place to end the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode as much as I did. But yeah, it was another ranting episode. Well, it wasn't even ranting. It was me.
It was a yapping session.
finding yes. Well, not even that. It was more me like, oh, this is really cool. We should talk about this for an
Yeah.
hour.
Because he totally didn't have a topic beforehand. I mean,
I did totally have that.
yeah, he
Actually,
totally
funny
had a
enough,
topic.
I actually had this topic planned like a month ago.
Oh,
Believe
okay.
it or not. Believe it or not. Which
Okay.
is not like me.
Yeah.
So I was like, after the pets episode, and this was like after we did the first part of pets episode, I was like, I'm doing this for my topic next time.
Wow.
So that was like a month ago. So yeah, dedication right here. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
exactly.
All right, so we're going to end the episode here. You can always find us on Spotify.
Yeah. See you guys.
We will see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.